About a year ago, I made the first devlog for my game Iwinder, a game where you can rewind, accelerate, and invert time while exploring an open world of floating islands. A year later, and I finally have a Steam page where you can go and wishlist the game. So what have I accomplished in the past year? Well, I graduated with a master's in computer science, started working full-time as a software developer, and drank approximately 27,765.5 ounces of water. But all of that's not what you're here for. There have been a lot of changes since the start of development, ranging from switching up the art style to dropping support for multiplayer. But one thing that hasn't changed is the core mechanic of being able to rewind time, which has affected pretty much every game design decision I've made. For example, sound design is an important part of every game. For my game, I have the added challenge of making audio choices that work both forwards and backwards. Some music sounds great when played normally, but it doesn't work well when reversed. Whereas other music when played backward sounds almost identical when played forward. So when I'm choosing music, I have to listen to the song both forwards and backwards to make sure it sounds good in both directions. Sound effects were a lot easier to add, and add a lot to immersion when you are rewinding time because you can hear the sound of an action before it happens. I also made it so that individually rewound objects play sounds backward. I experimented with the time acceleration speeding up sound effects and music, but found that it didn't work with music very well. I know that people will have different preferences on this, which is why I added the option to enable or disable time-related audio effects in the settings menu. Speaking of which, I have a settings menu now. It has everything you would expect from a settings menu, like adjusting camera speed, audio levels, and control rebinding for both keyboard and gamepad. I also have a pause menu that lets you save and load, as well as a main menu. Not very exciting, but it still took over a month to make. I also made a loading screen for when you load a save or enter a time rift.
What does this helpful message in the corner say? It says you should wishlist the game. So why haven't you yet, Don't you know that Unity is increasing the fees for us developers, Install the game, Remove the splash screen, Open the Unity editor without buying the new Unity Battle Pass of the week,
I think I got a little off topic again. The past few months I've been focusing on getting the game into a state where it can be played, which means I needed to create islands and locations to explore. To help with placing bodies of water, I added this button that lets me cut lakes into the terrain. I noticed when placing houses that they didn't really work when the terrain wasn't flat, so I added another button that lets me flatten terrain around houses. For the demo, I only made one village called Windshire, but in the final game I'm planning for lots of villages scattered among different biomes. Villages by themselves aren't very interesting unless they're also filled with people, so I added some NPCs that you can talk to and receive quests from. I don't want my quest system to just be generic kill or fetch quests, although I will still have some of those. I want to have complex branching quests that will have permanent consequences for the world based on the player's choices. Although since the game is open world, most of these effects will be limited to a specific region. The main objective in the game is to rescue your dragons from time rifts, so I wanted to at least get the basics of the dragon system working for the demo. After you rescue a dragon, it will appear on your home island, where it will wander around aimlessly. You can interact with it to trigger a happy animation, or attack it to trigger a not so happy one. When trying to attack enemies, I noticed I kept missing them. This was 100% the game's fault and not at all due to my lack of skill. So I made it so that whenever you attack, as long as you are close enough to an enemy, you will automatically rotate and move towards them. This improves the feel of combat a lot. The last couple of videos have only featured the sky at dawn because my toon shader didn't account for the light conditions, which made all of the models look too bright at night. So I added a manager that automatically updates the ambient light of the shader, using a gradient tied to the time of day, so now everything looks like it should at night. Although for some reason only the moon casts shadows and not the sun. I was hoping to have the demo ready for this devlog, but even with everything I've done recently, there's still a lot left to do. I've set up a playtest button on the Steam page, so if you click that you'll be added to the list of playtesters and be able to play once the demo is out. I want to thank everyone who has taken the time to watch one of my videos in the past year. I was not at all expecting the level of support I've gotten. It's been great to interact with you all in the comments and on Discord. The thing that surprised me the most was the quantity and quality of fan art I've gotten. So to end the video, here are some of my favorites.